Hey y'all, it's Anime K-Man, and today I am gonna be reviewing episode 71 of Gegege no Kitarou. And I gotta say, this episode, while it wasn't the most, and I need to check the episode number, and I gotta say, while this episode wasn't the most epic Gegege no Kitarou episode, it wasn't the most funniest Gegege no Kitarou episode, it was still competently produced, because what I really found surprising about this specific episode was they fleshed out Katakasa quite a bit. And going in, I was actually surprised about that, because when they first introduced him in the Yokai Hotel episode way far back into season 1, with him and his two other buddies, I thought it was just going to be like mostly maybe a one-off episode, but to see this episode and get some characterization from Katakasa, where he kind of feels sad at times because of all the attention modern day umbrellas are getting. And then in addition to that, what I also like about this episode was we get to find out what makes him tick in regards to he likes to see umbrellas treated properly. He doesn't like to see him mistreated. And I kind of like that, because you gotta remember, in the Yokai Hotel episode, we find out that he's really nice with kids and all that. But then in this episode, we find out more facets of his personality, like he doesn't like to see umbrellas mistreated, and he's able to appreciate their fine craftsmanship. And it's to the point where if someone is missing their umbrella, he'll give it back to the owner. And I kind of like touches like that, because it shows you his nice, appreciative nature. Because he could have easily just been one that like just collects stray umbrellas that are lost in the streets. But I like how it shows you the extra mile and the goodness of his heart to actually want to give the umbrellas to people. I actually like that kind of stuff. So, from a character standpoint, it did well. And, additionally, the sequences where he was stalking this one dude just to make sure he appreciates his umbrella is just what the oh shit. So when you have even had comedic moments like that, showing off Kasa's extreme desire for people to be taking care of their umbrellas. Like, it led to some hilarious instances. And in none of the sequences that I feel, oh man, the humor feels unnatural. No. Because this episode did a good job of establishing Karakasa's appreciation for umbrellas, and even looking at some minor details. And I like how they bounce off of that to have joke after original joke after original joke in the episode. Like, even putting in like the statue holding these fucking umbrellas was adorable and shit like that. So that was pretty cool. Then midways, he steals the Chinchakovist because Ratman snitches, and I'm like, oh. But then again, his name is Ratman, so I guess it's fitting that someone who has the name Ratman would be a freaking rata, a snitch. So I guess it shouldn't have surprised me that Ratman would break bro code so easily. And in case you're wondering what bro code is, for anyone that's curious, bro code is pretty much where you're friends with like someone really, really deeply with them, to the point where you would assume that the person you're friends with deeply, or your brother, wouldn't spill out secrets of mighty importance to other people. That's what I mean by bro code. So after Ratman fucking says that, oh, if you get the Chinchakovist, it gives you your desires, I like how afterwards it leads to the scene where he takes the vest and then he transforms into a muscular looking dude stalking this dude like constantly, to the point where he gets so scared he's labeled a stalker, and Katakasa in his human looking form is captured by cops. And then during all this, it escalates so much, he like hits these cops. And then right when he's about to do something against this boy, because this boy wasn't really treating his umbrellas well, Kitarou shows up, and it all gets into like an interesting battle. And then midway he's in, Katakasa starts feeling the after effects of the vest, because really only the ones only certain people can use that vest properly, and Karakasa isn't the one that can use it properly. And then afterwards, when it knocks him out, I kind of like that sequence because, for one, for a second, it looked like the fight did have tension because for a second, Kitarou kind of was struggling. But then afterwards, it was nice to actually see him, Karakasa, it was nice to see him actually parts ways in not being able to use the vest anymore because for one, usage of the vest, it would probably take someone, it would pretty much take someone with the connections of Kitarou's bloodline to even be able to use that vest. So kind of like how this episode gives us a grasp as onto that. And seeing Karakasa's body kind of like get into shock was pretty cool. And at the same time, I like how that gives more feats to Kitarou's Nchanko vest too, in a way. So then afterwards, I like how it leads into Kitarou forgiving Karakasa, and then he apologizes. In a way, I like that. Because even Daddy Eyeball mentions that he was really, really earnest in his desire to help out Umbrellas. And then afterwards, I like how it transitions into a sequence where Natsumi gives these stickers towards Karakasa so that he wouldn't feel so down about looking old. And I like how afterwards, he looks all fucking cutesy style, and then he wants Ratman to use him as a fucking umbrella, and that was a little adorable. And that was a nice way of ending off the episode from a story standpoint. Because for one, it started off with Karakasa pretty much being sad about how modern and stylish umbrellas look, towards at the end, himself improving himself to the point where now he looks more modern and stylish. And I like how it resolves that plot point all in the span of an episode. And in addition to that, I like how they utilize Natsumi to help comfort him by giving him the stickers so that he looks more like a decorated modern style umbrella. And that's what I like about this episode too. It utilizes elements from previous episodes you didn't think they were going to use. Then it uses them in an exceptional way for a nice episode like this. And that's what I really love about Gegege no Kitarou. Like, seriously, Season 2 of this series utilizes continuity way more than Season 1 did. And I really, really love that. Shows you that the writing staff in this series is getting way, way better. They're improving in their skills. So I gotta give props to that in the story standpoint. And from a character standpoint, I like it. It showed you the passion that Karakasa had for umbrellas. And additionally, I like how parts of ways in you see him go through some character development, because he actually now realizes that, yeah, new umbrellas actually have it rough. In a way, I think it has an implicit moral message too. I think it has a message of, at times, the older generation might criticize the younger generation because they might think that the younger generation might have it too easy. But like how the episode has the message of, maybe at times the younger generation doesn't have it as easy as what the older generation assumes. And I think that's also another message that this episode gave out, because you have Karakasa saying stuff like, man, these new umbrellas have it really, really tough. And that was a message I took from this episode. And I felt this episode also had another good message, like when he told the boy that you shouldn't be throwing away umbrellas. I like how this episode also had, and then the boy said things like, oh, well, everyone disposes umbrellas because they're cheap to buy. I also like this episode also has the implicit message of, you shouldn't follow what the majority says at times. Because even though the majority does something, doesn't make it always right. And in this case, people throwing away their plastic umbrellas like that, just because they're easy to replace, isn't exactly right. And I also like the message of the episode in regards to, you shouldn't always follow the herd at times. And sometimes going against the herd is the right thing to do. And that's another cool message that I took from this episode. And that's what I felt from a character and story standpoint. This episode was competently done. And I'd say really the only weaknesses in this episode were the animation quality. It pretty much delved into stills, at least in a few instances during the fight scenes when it was like some of the hand-to-hand portions. and the art wasn't exactly the most spectacular in some instances, but the art got the job done, and the animation wasn't the worst either. And that's why I felt, from a visual standpoint, it was alright. And the voice performances were pretty good. And as for the soundtrack, I thought they helped elevate the comedic sequences a bit, especially when dramatic music was used. So I gotta give props to the directorial staff. They were able to use the sad soundtrack at times to make a hilarious sequence. And I'd say overall, taking these factors into consideration, of a scale of 1 to 10, with 1 being abysmal, 10 being exceptional, 5 being average, I think this was a solid 6 out of 10, an episode above average. Because it made me laugh, and I thought I had nice messages. Now, I didn't give it a 7 or 8, 9 or 10. The reason why I didn't give it that is because the animation wasn't the strongest, and this episode wasn't the funniest or the most scariest or the most action-packed episode. But regardless, I still felt this episode had enough heart in it to at the very least garner a 6 out of 10 from me, which is still good in my scale. So anyways, y'all, these are my thoughts on the episode. Be sure to comment on your thoughts on the episode in the comment section below. Rate the video, subscribe, comment, share, and I'll see you guys later if you come back for more. And I apologize for the sneezing. Alright, thank you so much for watching, everyone. Have a great and safe day. Bye-bye.